Hey, it's Dee with Dee's Photography, and I'm gonna do a really quick video, just showing this effect I get asked a lot about. I'll show you. I did a little quick one on here. This is sort of like what the effect will be. I'll go ahead and delete that. So first, start the image. You can do this to any image. More browns and greens, outdoorsy nature, leaves, stuff like that. Lends well to this type of processing outdoors, but I mean, you could try it on any image and tweak it to fit your needs. If you hear a little child in the background, that would be my son, so go ahead and apologize beforehand because I probably get interrupted a few times. And I'm not really going to go in detail about why I do things and stuff. I do offer mentoring now, that's why, but I still like to help others, so I have no problem showing you. I explained this in a group of what I sort of do on these. I did miss one step, and I'll show you that on here. The first thing I always do with any image is to open up a quick levels and just do my levels adjustments, and that's obviously according to each image, what kind of look I want to go for. And then I can adjust any color tones or skin tones if I want to fix them up a little bit. I'm thinking I'll put more green in here. Like I said, I'm not going to explain in detail what all these do. If you know about levels, you know what I'm doing right now. If you don't, you should learn them, because levels are extremely powerful and amazing, and definitely what I like to use. Alright, so I'm a levels-based editor. I do use curves sometimes, but not often. So that was before, and that's just with that quick levels adjustment. The next thing would be do a gradient map. If you don't know about gradient maps, I have an old tutorial on my blog. I probably wouldn't read it, it's probably horrible, but it does sort of explain about them in detail more. What I'm going to say here, I'm going to do a pink to cream. It's one I have saved because I use it, or used to use it often. Set it to soft light, and then pull it down to 20, 25, depends on the image. So as you can see, the tone is already added to the background, the leaves are already changing a nice color. The next thing I'll do is some quick vignettes. I use gradient, radial, reverse, and I tweak this part so it looks more natural. Set it to overlay, and then adjust this down a little bit. And I'm going to do another vignette. I'm going to go and change the color to more of a dark brown into a very light color. Radial, reverse. Same as the other gradient. Maybe a little bit more stronger or circular. The best thing to do is to play with the settings to match your image. Which is, if you don't play in the Photoshop, and how will you learn? Alright, so that's pretty strong. I may go down even just a bit more. And if it's too strong, go in and actually change your color around. Maybe the color, that's because it depends on what color your background is, of how it affects it. If you're doing a color vignette, obviously. The next thing I'm going to do is another gradient map. This one's going to be more brown. Not cream, we're going to do more light, almost white color. Alright. And I'm going to, I have this pulled and tweaked, so we're going to pull back closer to the center. Set this one to soft white. Just going to deepen up and enrich that background. And let's see if it'll show me the difference here. As you can see, It really deepens it up. I'm going to brush it off my subject, so get a brush, click on my mask, make sure it's black and not white, or it's pointless to brush. I am sloppy brushing right now, mainly because I have it such a low opacity, it's not too big a difference, and the color tone isn't major different. If it was a major color tone change that you could notice better, I will zoom in, obviously, and make sure fine detail that. And usually in clients I do it anyway. And as you see, going off this side a little bit. Somehow I went that way. Oh, I thought I had 100. Alright. Okay. The next thing I'm going to do is a deep, deep blue, solid fill, set to exclusion. It's sort of like a vintagey color. And you can adjust that to whatever you want on your back. I'm going to go apply it on my background, so I'm going to hold Alt down while grabbing my layer mask, drag it onto my other layer mask, and it will copy that so I don't have to redo that whole layer mask. Now it's just applying that to the background, which looks pretty cool. The next thing is a solid color, light cream color, super low opacity, like under 10. Depends on how I'm feeling that day. 5. I may actually get this to be a little bit darker there. Okay. And play with your blend modes too. Soft light, pen light's nice blend mode. It adds actually, if you go to 100%, you can see like a pink tone in there, right here, and the highlights. So that kind of adds a pink tone too, with the cream tone. So play with your, you can do normal, pen light, whatever works for your image. That's the big thing, is that you need to find whatever works best for the picture you have, because every picture is a little bit different. And I'm going to do a matte layer. Okay. And this one I'm just going to apply to the entire image. I'm going to pull it down just a bit. I usually make my original strong, and then I'll pull down my actual layer down the opacity so it's not as strong. I'm going to do another different type. It's too strong for me. And this is, I'm only paying attention really to the background, because I'm only going to apply it to the background. Okay, and like I said earlier, hold Alt, drag that layer mask on top of here so it just masks it off for me. And I'm going to pull that opacity down just a bit. The final step I'll do is a dodge burn layer overlay, and that's black and white brushes. Whoops, I hit too crazy number there. I start with a black brush, usually around 25–30%, and like I said, I apply pretty strong, and then I'll adjust the opacity of the entire layer down. That way, I can really just play around with what I want. Maybe I want a stronger edit, maybe I don't. My edit depends on how I'm feeling. It depends on the image. So many things go into how I want to edit that day. And it's so fun with Photoshop because you have so much options, and elements as well. All this can be done in elements, everything I do, which is why I'm also levels based, because I started out in elements, taught myself in elements, and since I create actions, I like to make sure that all of them translate into elements nicely. And I'll brush about 15%. I go in and I'll brush in between these little crevices here. I brush the blacks on them. Maybe do a little on the hair to deepen it. Cheekbone there. Then I'll get a white brush at 10. And this is just add definition for my image. I can't see my keyboard, usually I hit X. That's too much. Okay. And I'll brush a little bit on their face. Alright. So then I pull this, like I said, down 70%-ish. A little dinosaur. Sorry about that. Like I said, I would have interruptions. So once I have that, you can also play with the layering, because depending on how you have it layered, it actually changes the effect slightly. So you can put the matte above the or the dodge burn layer, and it makes it more matte. I personally like the matte, but I like to bring it down. That's why I do that over it sometimes. Every image, like I said, is different, so if it's doing banding, I'll change that around. So that is that. Steps from here to here. The next thing you can do is just do a gradient. I have one set already for light. This is just a radial gradient with an orange tone. You can do a cream tone, you can do whatever tone. I set it to screen, and I'll adjust it down like this. And then if it's not pulled down far enough, I'll pull it down a little bit more, see what it looks like. And there you go. I'm going to pull that down just a bit more. Okay. So that would be the final step. And then you could tweak that as needed to fit your image. So that would be before, and that would be after. And since, like I said, I say this, save these steps, you can save them as action, and then you can run it, go in and tweak your like masking, and then tweak your layers as needed for image if you want the style. It's good to really understand actually what each one's doing. Like levels is extremely important to learn. Gradient maps are great to know, so that way you can try out new styles and figure out your own style of editing. So before and after, and hopefully that helps somebody. And thank you guys.